Hi, this is Mr. Guy, and this is federalism. Federalism is the division of power between national, state, and local governments. And in the Constitution, there are national powers for the government. There are 17 in the Article 1 for Congress. The president has powers to pardon, powers for making treaties. So the president has about 5 different powers. And then the Supreme Court has their power to do judicial review. Then basically there's the 10th Amendment, which basically says if the powers are not specifically stated in the Constitution and they're not denied to the states, they are then reserved to the states or the people. This is a limiting of the power of the federal government. So this is the 10th Amendment. And what expands the power of the federal government, there's a couple things, but number one is the implied powers. So Congress has the right to create a bank. It's not specifically listed in the Constitution, but they have the powers that are listed are the powers to borrow money, the power to coin money, the power to regulate trade. So it's implied that the federal government has the power to establish a national bank, or the Federal Reserve in our case today. So there are implied powers, which stretches the Constitution, makes the federal government more powerful. There's the 10th Amendment that also restricts the power of the federal government, and there's this yin and yang going back and forth. Is this a state issue, or is this a federal issue, or is this a local issue? And that's basically the questions. The issues that we talk about with federalism started off with slavery, welfare, government regulations on business. Then it goes into marriage and gay marriage now, or it might go into marijuana laws, might go into death penalty. It could go into a lot of different issues. So you take the issue, and then is it for the United States as a whole, or is it each state can regulate it themselves? So the implied powers, the 2 clauses that are important in expanding is the Commerce Clause and the power to tax. And the Commerce Clause has been used to write civil rights acts. The power to tax was used for Obamacare. So these are the 2 powers that are mostly used by Congress for expanding the power of the federal government. The other thing that's done is mandates, and this could be a mandate by the Supreme Court, or it could be by the federal government. One of the basic mandates that's been kind of important was in the 1980s, we wanted to get rid of drunk driving, and we wanted less people to do drinking and driving, so we wanted to raise the minimum age to drink alcohol. It was 18, and the federal government wanted to make it 21, so they couldn't do it nationally, but what they had to do was they said, states, if you want any money from the federal government for roads, for repairs, for bridges, for any of that, you must raise your drinking age to 21. So most states did it really quickly because they couldn't give up that money from the federal government, but others took longer. It might have taken them 10 years to raise it, but eventually all 50 states, the drinking age is 21 for alcohol. So that's kind of like what changed it. You also have like a mandate to do the 1980 Disabilities Act. This act basically said that all buildings and all structures need to be accessible to the handicapped, to people with disabilities. So you need ramps, and you need elevators, and you need these things. This is a mandate that didn't come with any money, and it's very expensive, but rules and regulations require buildings and companies to do this, and they've been doing this. So some mandates have money, some mandates don't have money, but these are things that require basically people and states to follow the federal government laws. Supreme Court can make a decision. They can say that basically segregation is illegal. That is a mandate. You must integrate schools, and they said that. Now the question is, how do they do it? And that's harder to do, and how to get those done, but that is a mandate from the Supreme Court. So there's lots of different types of mandates. We'll be going over in class, we'll be going over different types of block grants, revenue sharing, different types of categorical grants and things like that. Some have strings attached, some do not. So federalism is very important. It was a new concept by the framers of the Constitution. It was never really been done before. It was a new, bold idea to kind of like basically limit the power of the government. Federalism, not only do you divide the federal government into branches, you also divide the powers of government into state, local, and federal. So it's another way to limit the power of the government. Federalism, basically everything we do today, whether it's marriage or whether it might be guns or it might be marijuana, all of these things are related to federalism. Who has the authority to make that law? If you look at nullification, that is the state saying that law is not legal. States can't do that, but we're fighting nullification again today. So a lot of the issues we've been fighting for 200 years, we're going back and forth with these. So federalism is an interesting chapter. We're going to need to know the powers of the federal government, powers of the states, powers denied the states, powers denied the federal government, and know how to basically understand implied powers and understand mandates and money. So it's a good unit, and federalism is very interesting. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in class or post after the video. Have a great day.